Hello students, this is Mr. Damiani and we are going to be looking at lesson 1.7 on page 43 of the chapter 1 Go Math workbook. And I'd like to thank all of our students for working so hard at trying to learn a little bit from these videos. Mrs. Dubé and I have been very impressed. So let's get to work. We are looking at how to multiply decimals today. That is our topic. Our essential question is, how do you multiply multi-digit decimals? All right, when we were working with addition and subtraction yesterday, we were worried about lining up decimal points, and today we're not going to be worrying about that. So let's get to work. Unlock the problem. Please follow along as I read. Last summer, Rachel worked 38.5 hours per week at a grocery store. She earned $9.70 per hour. How much did she earn in a week? So important information from the problem would be that she worked 38.5 hours, or 38.5 hours per week, and she earned $9.70 for each of those hours. How much did she earn in the week? So we are looking at a total here, and when we want to find a total, we're looking at either addition or addition or multiplication. And since we are looking at, over the course of a week, multiple days, multiple hours, we are going to be multiplying. So the problem says, multiply $9.70 times 38.5. First, estimate the product, 10 times 40. So when you're estimating, you're going to round to make these values easier to work with. So the $9.70 is going to be closer to a 10. That $38.50 closer to a 40. So you can end up with a nice whole number of about 400. All right, and that would be $400. Now, if you came up with an estimate that focused around to 39, that would have been acceptable too. So if you came up with $390, I feel like that would be an acceptable estimate as well. All right, let's get to the actual multiplication, trying to find our actual answer, and then we will compare that to our estimate. So let's begin. You can use the estimate to place a decimal in the product. So we know we should be somewhere around $400. We'll help place that decimal point at the end. Let's begin our multiplying. So we have $9.70 times 38.5. We are not bringing down decimal points. We will place that at the end. Always make sure, we're multiplying multi-digit numbers. We want to line our digits up as we go down through our multiplication process. All right, here it is. 0 times 5 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. Drop the 5, carry the 3. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 3 is 48. And our first row should be 4850. We are done with the 5, and I drop a 0. Kill it and bury it. However, you got to remember, you cross that 5 out, you drop the 0. Next up, 0 times 8 is 0. 7 times 8 is 56. Drop my 6. Bring up my 5. And then 9 times 8 is 72, plus 5 is 77. So my second row should be 77600. And we are done with the 8. Now you'll notice here that we have 2 slashes. That means I need 2 zeros when I drop down. Now I begin my multiplication. 0 times 3 is 0. 7 times 3 is 21. I drop the 1. Bring up my 2. And then 9 times 3 is 27, plus 2 is 29. Notice I have all my digits lined up. I crossed off my digits up here as I used them, so I didn't want to reuse any of those. Now let's go ahead and add down. All my zeros, give me 0. 5, 8 and 6 is 14 and 0. Carry them on 1. Then I have 5 and 8 gives me 13. Bring up the 1. And then I have 7 and 9 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Bring up the 1 and a 3. So now I have 373450. Let's figure out how to place that decimal point. Go up to the problem, underline all of your digits to the right of the 0. Oh, sorry, misspoke. To the right of the decimal point. So I have the 7, the 0, and the 5 down here. That's 3 digits to the right, which means I place my decimal point 3 digits to the left. Bounce that back there, and I'm looking at $373.45. Now, you can use the estimate to help place the decimal point because I know I should have 3 digits to the left of my decimal. And in this case, the 373, and that's close to the 400. All right, so let's fill in our information here. It says multiply as you would with whole numbers. That's the process that we go through. The estimate is about $400. So the decimal point should be placed after the 373, which is where we placed it. Since the estimate for $400 is close to $373.45, the answer is reasonable. So Rachel earned a nice $373.45 for a week of hard work. That is the process we are going through. And remember, as I work through these examples, if you find any that, I'm going a little bit too fast on, please pause, rewind, catch up as needed, and really make the video what you need it to be. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll down to the next question here. Question 1. Explain how your estimate helped you know where to place the decimal in the product. All right, so really take a second and think about how that estimate of 400 told us where to place the answer, or place decimal in our answer. Okay, so my estimate was about 400. Okay, so about $400. So I knew I needed 3 digits to the left of the decimal. All right, so go ahead, make sure you pause the video, take time to write that in there. And we are going to go ahead and turn to page 44. All right, let's take a look at what we are going to be doing. It says counting decimal places. Another way to place the decimal in a product is to add the number of decimal places in the factors. Just reviewing what we did on the previous page. Let's begin. Example 1. We are going to multiply 0.084 by 0.096. Lots of decimal points. So what we're going to do here, or a lot of digits to the right of that decimal, what we're going to do here is we are going to go from our problem, we're just going to count up our decimal places. So I have 1, 2, 3, the 0, 8, and the 4. I have 3 decimal places in that top row. Bottom row, I have a 0.96 to the right. So that gives me 3 more decimal places to the right of that decimal point. All right, so right now we have a total, okay, we have a total of 6 decimal places. All right, so 3 plus 3 gives us 6 decimal places. We're going to place that decimal at the end after we multiply the whole numbers. Let's begin. 4 times 6 is 24. Drop the 4, carry the 2. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 2 gives me 50. So I'm going to put that 0 here. Now you notice I have just zeros to the left. So I'm just going to put that 50 in. All right, next step here. I'm going to drop it. And let's work the 9 now. 4 times 9 is 36, carry the 3. 8 times 9 is 72, plus the 3 gives me 75. And again, I'm not going to worry about multiplying here, 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 and here as I go through because that's just going to give me zeros to the left, and we're going to end up placing those at the end. So let's go ahead and add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 0 plus 6 is 6. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1, and that gives me an 8. So I have 8064. Now, I have 6 decimal places. I'm going to start it behind the 4 here to the right, and I'm going to count back 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Place my decimal point. You'll notice I have 2 spots that need to be filled. We occupy those with zeros. All right, so we are looking at an answer of 0.008064. Finalized answer. Lots of decimal points. All right, let's slide down to example 2 now. As we look at example 2, we can see that we're going to have two operations. I've got some multiplication and I have some addition. Using order of operations, I know I have to complete the addition step first. So, let's add. Lining up our decimal points from yesterday. Adding down, drop my decimal point. 12, carry the 1, 7, and a 1. I look like I got a 1.72. All right, let's fill in our values. We are going to multiply 0.35 by 1.72. Count your decimal places. I have 2 in the top row, 2 in the second row, and let's multiply. Here we go. 5 times 2 is 0. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, 7. I'm going to ignore that 0. Don't need it. I'm going to drop the 2. Kill it and bury it. 5 times 7 is 35. There's my 5. Here's my 3. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 3 is 24. And I'm going to kill that and bury it. Whoop, whoop. There's my zeros. And now 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3. So I'd have 3500. We are going to add down zeros, 12, carry my 1. 5 and 5 is 10, carry the 1. 3 and 3 is 6. I have 6020. Not my final answer because I'm going to place my decimal points. I have 4 decimal points. So I want to count back 4 spaces, starting to the right of the 0. Counting back to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a final answer here, as I'm going to write on my line, of 0.602. And you don't need the 0 on the end, but if you place it, you're still good to go. All right, folks, so that is the multiplying of decimals lesson for 1.7 in our workbook. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch the video. And please remember, your job is the SQ part of our WSQ process here. So you need to create your summary and form a nice higher order thinking question at the bottom using your flip book. So do the best you can. Come into class on Monday ready to go, and we will get to work on those practice pages. Have a great night, and I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Goodbye.